I'm Lauren. I am a former social worker, trauma therapist. This last year and the 3 years of the separation prior were extremely touch and go financially. I wasn't sure if I would still be retired early, and I have run the numbers a million times. I keep questioning whether I should go back to work or not go back to work. I've crunched the numbers, and even worst case scenario, I won't have to go back. So I am technically retired early. I could go back if I wanted to. If a really amazing job came along, I would consider it. But the trade-off is less time with my kids. I was considering trying to get a job in their school, so even on the weeks I don't have them, I would get to be a part of their lives on a regular basis. I still don't know. That's still a question mark for me. I haven't quite figured that one out. I was looking at some of my notes, and I recently rededicated to a low buy, and I didn't dedicate to a no buy, although I did spend 48 hours to 72 hours with zero spending to reset, because I'm retired early, so I have a set amount that I have to live off of every month and have calculated for the rest of my life what I will need. And it's so easy in retirement to scroll online for shopping or constantly think about what you need. And I have recently been living in a lot of fear, and life's been a little chaotic. So I read the book Your Money, Your Life and learned about life's energy and work and retiring early back in 2007-8, and started applying some of the principles in grad school and saved $1,000, which I'd never done before in my whole life. 4 figures in my bank account had never occurred, even at 24 or 5 years old. I had recently gotten sober. I am in recovery through 12-step recovery, and I always say this, I am just one member of a very large anonymous fellowship. I don't represent 12 steps as a whole. I am a product of that and successfully doing that, and I love my recovery. So if you're a recovery person, go that one day at a time. I've recently been living in fear and have not spent my retirement relaxing. But when I did retire early, we moved to Hawaii and separated, and we have 2 kids and a lot of properties and business. I honestly haven't been able to enjoy much of it. I wanted to make this channel. I built up a following on TikTok, but I got off of short form content. I want to start making long form content because I truly believe that long form is where it's at. I love YouTube. I love watching in the morning. I watch a lot of slow living channels. I think minimalism and frugality are really necessary for me, not just practically speaking through the numbers that I need to be looking at on a day-to-day basis and knowing what my numbers are and having a solid, firm budget. Those things are very important, but spiritually and fundamentally for me, growing up in the environment I did, which was a lot of chaos, both my parents worked, 80s and 90s, huge accumulation of things. We rented, so we moved a lot. It was a family trying to make it in this world without a lot of help. And I saw the stress every day with my parents. I always wanted more for them, and I became a trauma therapist to figure out what is happening here. I remember being 17 years old and one of the managers of my dad's restaurants coming to me, grabbing me by the shoulders and saying, "At what age were you when you realized that your parents were completely insane?" I just said, "Oh, I don't know." And she wandered off, because to her it was a benign conversation. But to me, it was in that moment that this person was sort of validating some suspicions that I had around my family potentially being a different sort. And now that I'm 43 years old, I know that all families are different, right? Different family cultures. And all I have is my personal frame of reference. I don't believe that because of my childhood trauma or because of difficulties we may have had that I became an addict or alcoholic. I think I was genetically predisposed, as I think the majority of the world is, to addiction. And that, yes, coupled with some of the things that happened, that was the trajectory for me. When I was drinking in my late teens and early 20s, I hated life. I was extremely codependent. I had no sense of self. I struggled in relationships, and I wanted to be loved and understood, and I desperately sought that out through validation from others. And you can imagine that did not go well. I remember being in treatment and one of the counselors saying, Not only do you need to pray for the obsession with alcohol and drugs to be removed, but you need to pray for the obsession for attention from others to be removed as well. I see the irony here that I'm on YouTube. But it's true that to an extent I have healed some of that I know that there's not a single person that will truly understand and fully get me. I think for a long time I confused understanding and love, and that instead of looking for love, I was really looking for understanding, and that's just not possible. In my opinion, we're all here walking alongside of one another, but we are all unique. And though someone could be 98% similar to me, there's going to be a 2% difference, and we're not always going to see eye to eye. I think that's what makes life beautiful and interesting and more fun. I don't want us to all be alike. Where would I discover new things? Where would I find the creativity and inspiration in others, or the clarity in what I do not want? The negative experiences in life have shaped me more than some of the positive ones by showing me this doesn't feel good, and I've learned to start trusting those feelings. This doesn't feel good to me. It's okay to move away from it. I can just say, this doesn't feel good for me. It's not in alignment with who I am or want to be, and I can move on. All of my ex-boyfriends, hello, and thank you, because you've shown me that there were things that we liked and things that we didn't like, and as we were growing and changing, it's okay. I remember an Al-Anon sponsor once telling me about a relationship that wasn't working out. She said, "You don't really love him." And I said, "No, I do." And she said, "No, you're asking him to be someone he's not, and that's not love. But you're also getting less than what you need, and that's also not love." She said, "It's not fair to either one of you." She said, "Nobody here is at fault. You're both exactly who you want to be, and it's just not compatible." And I thought that was awful. I thought it had to be somebody's fault. I was holding on, not ready to let go. But I do look at that relationship as a gift. I look at the negative events in my life as gifts. Sometimes it's tougher with my family of origin. I have Norman Rockwell dreams about what parenting should or shouldn't be, or the way that a relationship should or shouldn't be, and ideal ideas that just really don't serve me. I wrote this strict set of rules around spending. You're bad if you do this, you're good if you do this. I let that go too. I did it for about a week and a half. I've made videos. I walked into Target, I walked into TJ Maxx. I didn't spend anything. I do think those experiences were good experiences to have. I don't need a $4 lip gloss every single day of my life. I have been, as a minimalist, recluttered, decluttered. I've talked about the minimalism roller coaster. I don't want to live that way. I do understand, I'm still working on it, that the accumulation of stuff, like things that I'm stuffing into my little snail shell, traveling around this earthly plane, bringing with me, are just really not going to fulfill me in the end. Or they're beautiful and wonderful for a season, and they may not be with me forever. I talk a lot about my grandmother's houses and how much I loved being at my grandmother's houses, and they were static, right? They spent a lifetime accumulating these beautiful things. They lived through the Depression, and neither of my grandmothers or parents were well off. They were firmly middle class, but when they did buy things, I remember the crystal candy dishes in my dad's mom's house, and they were always there, and they always had candy, and every time I came over, me and my cousins would grab it, and the milk in the fridge and the dining room table and the ashtray that they would dump their ashes into while playing bridge. My grandfather's garage lined with canned goods from his garden and all this stuff. But as beautiful and as comforting as those things were, they too had to let go of them when they moved to assisted living and downsized. I was in my 20s, and I didn't have a home or a place to take in any of these nostalgic items. So God knows where they ended up. Though I think of them fondly, it's more because I miss the feeling of home with the people. I'll do the same thing. I have my things, my little trinkets in this lifetime, and maybe my kids will keep them, or maybe they won't, or maybe we'll just give them all away and start over. They're only things, and it's okay to love them, and it's okay to let them go. It's okay to be sad about giving them away. My partner and I, when we get caught up in an argument or we're really hammering home our point and wanting to be understood again. We have this joke of that song that says that in the end, nothing really matters. We sing that to each other to diffuse situations because in a way, it's true. In the end, none of it matters and it's just things. The reason I retired early is I wanted to live a free life. I knew from an early age that there wasn't really one particular thing I wanted to be when I grew up. When people would ask me that question, what do you want to be when you grow up? I had no clue. I think I said veterinarian, actress, interior designer. I wanted to be a pilot for a little while. I wanted to join the Air Force. I ended up becoming a social worker. I had 5 majors in college. It was interior design, theater, English, social work, nursing. I'm a content creator because I just did this thing called retiring early, and I want to create still. There's no time where I get to the end of my life and I'm gonna stop wanting to learn and do and create. For me, my experience of being human is I have to create, and when I don't create, if I just sit on the couch all day, I get that cabin fever, ick feeling of depression and anger and restless and irritable. When I do stuff like this, I feel satisfied and fulfilled, and for right now, it's what I'm doing. If you like this weird existential early retirement psychology talk, you're in the right place. And I would appreciate a follow, a subscribe if that's right for you. If you like and subscribe, then the algorithm knows that you like this kind of stuff and it can promote it to other people who might like it. But I think that naturally people who like this will follow along. So I know I don't have to say it. I don't make money from YouTube. All this is for free. I used to make money on TikTok. I do still post these videos on TikTok and nobody watches them because they're far too long for that kind of attention span and platform. There's a lot of people over there that I care about, so I do that. So today I will be cleaning my house. It is quite the mess. One of my children is sick, and so we're all staying home from summer school today and having a sick day. And then we have a dentist appointment later and maybe some teeth extractions on my youngest. She has shark teeth, so her adult teeth are coming in and her little teeth aren't going anywhere. They are solid. So starting to create a little pain in my poor baby. We'll see how it goes. Fingers crossed, send prayers, send good vibes. Yeah, a lot has changed for me in the last year, the last couple of years. The fourplex in Florida is starting to stabilize a little bit. I have some new property management. We're getting a new AC unit. I'm cutting the granite for a new cooktop. It's all coming together. We're gonna try to breathe easier today and just go to the gardening center, go to the pool. That's it. Enjoy it. I live in Hawaii. When I remember that I have electricity and hot water and a roof over my head, and I retired early in Hawaii, I don't really need a lot. I'm feeling pretty good about it. I'm not saying that to brag. I'm really proud of myself for doing this. So yeah, and you can do it too, even in 2026. The having to unlearn Decreep my lifestyle, it's not as hard as I thought it was going to be. And the gifts from it have been happiness and connection and just focusing on who I really am and what I really want and being appreciative of myself and others who've come before me. Thanks for being here. Mahalo.